game and beat New Zealand. So now, with their destiny in their own hands, can they show what they showed against New Zealand? Be strong, dictate tempo. Early on the press, we haven't seen a ton of that, but with the front three, Joe, which I love to see from the U.S., that allows them to press higher up the pitch and set their stall out.
Remember, the top two teams in the group go through to the quarter-final stage. The US have begun the match in second place behind France and above New Zealand on goal difference. In terms of the permutations, the US win by 2 goals would take them through, regardless of how the other game pans out. A win by 1 goal would be enough, as long as New Zealand don't record a huge win over France. A draw for the US would also do if the Kiwis fail to win. If the US were to lose by 2 goals, they're out. Lose by 1 goal, they could still go through. Guinea have to score at least 2 goals to have a chance. I hope you're still with me. But the short of it really is that the US have a wonderful chance to advance to the knockout stage of the Olympic Games for the first time in 24 years since you were in the squad, Tim.
Well, that's right. You talk about that mentality, right? And it's all those permutations you just talked about. They've got to come into this game, and I imagine they are. We win, we're through. That's it, first and foremost.
There's Mihailovic for the US, the goal scorer in the last match, finding Griffin Yao. One of those 2 players brought in by Marko Mitrovic. Busio will be a miss. He scored the 3rd goal in the weekend success in Marseille against New Zealand. There'll be a slight change in the way the midfield operates in his absence.
Yeah, and when you look at the other side of it, the U.S. has to just beware of that counter break there. They're going to have good possession. It looks as if Guinea's not going to come out and high press them, but on the turnover, they've got to be +1 and numbers up at the back and just put out any fires that come their way.
Must be given away by Sibber, straight to Yao, a chance here!
Yes!
Oh, the goalkeeper with a fingertip save to redeem himself there after the initial mistake. That was some stop.
It was, but this is why we've been begging to see Yao. Direct, gets it out of his feet. He knows exactly what he needs to do with the ball. Yes, goalkeeper makes a mistake. Cleans up for it with a really fine save, touching that over the bar. But the U.S. has signaled their intent. Watch, Yao gets this. He's got one thing on his mind. Head down, head up. Tries to find that corner. It's really good play. He's been a substitute that's forced his way into the team. We talked about that over the last 2 games. Make it difficult on the manager, and he's done that.
Well, the US were a real danger from set pieces last time out. And here's their first corner of this match. Taken by Mihailovic. Cleared that near post area, but Mihailovic with a second chance. With his weaker left foot. There's a flag up there for offside. And it's a similar start this from the US to that New Zealand game when they came out firing. They scored 3 goals in the first half an hour. They scored 4 goals in an Olympic match for the first time ever. They called their biggest winning margin at the games. First win for 16 years. Real momentum now behind them.
And football's such a funny game.
It's been given away again by Guinea. Mihailovic into Aronson. He went down, but no foul was given. And now Guinea with their first chance to attack. An open start this in Tetia. The US must stay switched on here. And that's a heavy touch and a bit of a let-off as Amadou Diallo made that surge down that left-hand side for Guinea.
Yeah, and they get let off the hook here just a little bit. This is, again, where Guinea's going to be most dangerous. In these counter-break, transitional moments, the U.S. has got to be switched on, and Guinea has to take advantage of it. That ball can't run out of play. It's got to be whipped in the box. They had numbers in the box. And unfortunately, for Guinea, it just went asking. But again, I do think this is a very similar start, as you mentioned, Joe, that we're seeing. And it's incredible when you win a game of football, you feel invincible. No matter who the opponent is, you think, the next game, we're going to do it again. And you can see how that momentum begins to carry over in possession. And you see both goalkeepers there, slight risk at the back. We talked about it in the last game against New Zealand. There's no need for the U.S. to play that risky. They have so many good advantages in the wide areas, in the forward areas. They have to be clinical with the ball.
There's Diallo. Down towards Alex Moriba. He's the player who scored the goal that got Guinea to the Olympic Games and a playoff. They were the last team to qualify. That was back in early May. They've lost the first 2 games here, although both were by a 1-goal margin. In their last match against France a few days ago, they had 2 goals in the first half, ruled out for offside. Marko Mitrovic certainly won't underestimate the threats posed by Guinea.
And that's right. You know, Diallo's had a bunch of the ball early on for Guinea, and he's a midfielder. But those midfielders occupy the wing spots because Moriba and Naby Keita come underneath to try and thicken things up and get on the ball for Guinea. Again, it allows them more freedom in the wide area, and Keita can be a problem, as is Diallo from the left side.
Yeah, lovely take by Griffin Young. He's a player who seems to be bursting with self-belief right now. And a good pass too, behind the big square. Way by Suma for Guinea. That flags up again, but we're seeing here real signs of just why Griffin Young has been brought in to start.
It's his directness. He took the ball really well, skates by the defender, actually rides a tackle. You know, he's not a big player in physical stature, but rides a tackle, sees the pass. Unfortunately for the U.S., Mihailovic just drifted offside, but again, his intent to be direct every time he gets the ball is a huge thing for this U.S. team.
Here's Maxi Dietz. Another giveaway there by Guinea. Tolkien now covering in the left back spot. Back with Patrick Schulte in the USA goal. And Walker Zimmerman, who scored a goal in the previous game. Now the captain, Tanner Tessman.
Really good build-up in that area from the U.S. They just have to recognize that when they get one side, the idea is quickly can you get it out the other. They did all the hard work on the right-hand side. That ball needed to relieve pressure, get back through the midfield, and continue to make Guinea chase, because at the moment, Guinea can't get near the U.S. when it comes to being in possession of the ball. That's what you want to do. You want to make them chase and run, break their spirit as they try and chase. And that's the ball that they're looking for constantly out to Diallo, because there's so many red shirts in the middle of the pitch with Keita and Moriba thickening things up, that's where the space is, and they understand that's where the space is as well.
Mihailovic. Strong tackle, but a fair one. Yao, another good ball by him. There's a player down for Guinea, but play continues. Paredes. Chance to shoot for him. And behind it goes for a corner. Went behind via a touch.
Yeah, just slips at the vital moment, but this is where you want Paredes. Out in space, gets that defender there on an island, doesn't want to defend there, just slips at the vital moment. You see, he wants to come inside. And turf just came out from under, but that's a good sign. It's a really good sign for the U.S. there. Just lining up that defender. It's a good save on the goalkeeper. Could have been just creeping onto the inside, but I like it. I love the intent from the U.S. They've been direct. They've been clean in possession. And what I don't like is Guinea are set up in a zonal marking system. There's just too many gaps. There's too many players that are stationary. Yes, you tell them to be active, but it's really difficult to be active from a standing position where U.S. players will get a run on you.
Mihailovic there with a corner. It was Harriel up to attack it. We have seen him get forward well in the tournament so far. He won the early penalty in the last match against New Zealand that was scored by Mihailovic.
Yeah, and then the US will like that. It's a clean header, and it's a free header. And they'll enjoy that. Another giveaway from the goalkeeper.
Happening time and again. Here's Yao, and now Aronson. Guinea are gifting the US chance after chance in the early stages here.
Yeah, well, and that's a chess match. The US, because they're able to press, they send Mihailovic forward with that front three. They press with a 4, and when you press with a 4, there's nowhere to play, but Guinea continue to play through just like this, and the US on the front foot. And you can just see how much pressure they're applying to this Guinea side.
Foul now on Griffin Yao. Or can the US make this early dominance count? 2 in the ball for Guinea. They are a tall team, the US. 2 centre-backs, both up to attack this. See Zimmerman lurking towards the back post, unmarked for now. It's Mihailovic who takes it. Towards Zimmerman too, and turned square by him, and it's away by Usman Kamara. That was a rehearsed and nearly very effective set-piece routine.
Well, and you have to give credit to Djordje Mihailovic. He has played so many dangerous set-piece balls.
Aronson now. Zimmerman still forward. It's back to Harriel. Breaks the way of Tessman. It's Aronson. It was well blocked away. And all the questions are being posed by the US. Yao again took it well. Moving beyond Balde. Then going down, another free kick.
Yao skates across the ground. It's like he doesn't even touch the grass. He's got that in his locker where the ball comes into him right here, and it just skips past the defender. Always inviting the defender to take a bite, take a nibble at the ball, and then just skips past him. And again, direct. He's never looking for a sideways pass. He's always trying to threaten the defenders, and when you do that, you create fouls, you create really good opportunities. I talked about Mihailovic, the balls he's playing, whether they're in-swingers, out-swingers, whether they're clipped diagonally to the back post, everything's been inch perfect. Here's a free kick now where he's standing over it. He might be thinking, I like my distances here. I like an opportunity to go for goal, and why not? He's been fantastic so far.
Some US fans in attendance at the Stade Geoffroy Guichard, hoping to see the US strike the first blow here. Mihailovic poised, that 2-man US wall, try and unsight the goalkeeper. Mihailovic!
Yes!
Fantastic! What a wonderful goal! Special times, special moments. The USA lead. Djordje Mihailovic, a wonderful free kick.
Well, right on cue. It's just a good distance, and it's a fantastic free kick. Not a ton of pace on it. He's not trying to beat the goalkeeper for pace. He just wants to put it in the right area. Feels it over the top of the wall. I mean, that is a clinical free kick from the US number 14. And as I mentioned, right on cue, he's been sensational with his free kick, with the placements. Unsurprisingly, that hit the back of the net.
Well, the goal had been coming, but the goal was quite something from Djordje Mihailovic. 2 goals for him now at the Olympic Games, and man, it was a surprise pick in the eyes of many by Marko Mitrovic. But he's underlining just why he was called up to this squad. What a start again for the USA.
Yeah, Joe has been justified in that selection, hasn't he? I mean, he's taken the ball in dangerous situations. He's got the US playing, knitting things together, and then being such a quarterback on those set pieces. They've needed it. The US have done really well in terms of drawing a lot of set pieces. Again, another foul here, which allows their best players to get on the ball in dangerous situations. A really fine start for the US. And Guinea, I have to say, are putting themselves under a ton of pressure. A little bit disjointed, particularly in possession. And then because they're trying to be expansive and play out of the back, when the ball turns over, they're not in good starting positions. Of course, they're trying to take the ball. And unfortunately, there's been too many giveaways which have allowed the US to play on the front foot.
Well, the way things stand right now, the USA would be advancing to the quarter-final stage. They'll be going through along with France. They'll be going through in second place. in Group A, and that would mean a potential meeting in the quarter-final against Morocco. That match would take place in Paris on Friday morning, US time, 9 AM Eastern time. Morocco, who were the perhaps surprise winners of Group B, ahead of Argentina, who came second. That group ended earlier today. It's a busy old day this in the men's football events. All 8 matches taking place today. The biggest team event at the Games. We now know 5 teams who have booked their place in the last 8. Spain, Egypt, Japan, Morocco and Argentina. And we'll know 2 more by the end of the US game here and the France match too. But here goes Aronson. Behind again for a corner. This is where the US will want to push home the advantage.
Yeah, and the US are playing so well in possession. They're getting players in between lines, checking their shoulder, on the half turn, catch, pass, and then it leads to willing runners like Aronson getting himself in the box. If you get the ball and you face forward and you have 2 seconds to play, Aronson will run in behind. He's got an energy, he's got an engine, and he refuses to not be beat to any ball that gets played in the channel. And it's, as a midfielder, that's all you can ask from your forward line.
Well, here's the set-piece king for the USA, Mihailovic with the corner. Flat one towards that near post.
We don't often see that from Mihailovic, hitting the front man. He's done so well bypassing that first defender, because this gives opportunities to the US here.
Zinman's up there again. Robinson was forward too. In goes Mihailovic, who was just caught there in the face, so the referee will stop it. And while he's down, we can mention potentially a fact that's not helped Guinea. You said they were disjointed. There was a last moment change to their starting 11 for this game today, and their captain, their talisman, Naby Keita, had to drop out. The man who was their flag bearer last Friday on the set in Paris for the opening ceremony, he had to pull out, replaced by Ousmane Camara. So that may have been a demoralising fact before the game even began here for them.
It is, and when you have your arguably your best player, your most experienced player, your captain, it takes the wind out of your sails. It really does, because you need, in these big moments, you need everybody. You need all your best players, and you sense that. You sense that as a footballer when one of your best players isn't on the pitch. You start to think, oh, do we have a chance here today? And so, yeah, that could certainly add to some of that non-togetherness, the disjointedness that we're seeing from them, because they don't have one of their leaders, the glue, on the pitch.
No lasting damage done to Djordje Mihailovic.
Yeah, I think it was just an inadvertent ball to the face. Never feels good, but again, for the US, it's a good sign. He's up and ready to get back on.
Just playing on with 10 for the moment, but he has now been waved back on again by the referee, Mihailovic. It was a big day this for US soccer. The under-20s face Guatemala later on today in the CONCACAF Under-20 Championship quarter-final. Winner of that will make the Under-20 World Cup in a year's time in Chile. The US men here hoping to follow the path set by the US women, who booked their place in the Olympic quarter-final with 1 match to spare. Scoring goals for fun so far, Emma Hayes' team, and this team here hoping to follow suit.
And Guinea to do a better job of asking questions of this US team, getting amongst it, being first to the ball, because right now they're second to everything, winning tackles, and maybe not playing as intricately. Sometimes this ball here can open up the US, make them have to defend on the back foot. Not everything needs to go through the middle for Guinea.
There's Tolkien, slightly heavy touch, but he got away with it. And Kamara. Aliou Balde with a cross, and well defended near post by Robinson. And a first real test there for the USA backline.
Yeah, and again, just mentioned it. The width is in the wide areas. Exploit that. Don't refuse crosses. The ball goes wide, get it in the box. Even if your numbers aren't in there and there's not a lot of red shirts you see there, make the US have to defend on the back foot. Ask the questions of it. Guinea hasn't done a good job up until this point, but good opportunity here.
Here's Skinny's first corner away decisively by Schulte. Balde got a shot in, but the block was by Mihailovic.
Good blocks, good clearance there from Yao. And Schulte, he's been fantastic the last few games. His timing, his rhythm, his confidence, particularly on those crosses. He claims them very calmly. When he needs to be decisive and punch, he gets height and distance, which is what you want from a goalkeeper. It allows that back line, when they're defending deep, to get up and move their lines.
There is news of a goal in the other game to end Group A, which is 200 miles south of Saint-Etienne in Marseille, where France, the host nation, lead New Zealand by 1-0. Jean-Philippe Mateta has scored that goal, the Crystal Palace striker for Thierry Henry's team. So that would see France heading for a third straight win to win the group, and the US will be very comfortable in second place going through alongside them. France for that game, by the way, made 7 changes, but still in front and looking very good. Now the US attack with Paredes. It's Tesma, and it was straight at Samaida Silla.
It's a good passage of play. I do think Yao has magic in his boots. The way he takes the ball with ease, good switch of play to Paredes, doesn't waste it, gets his head up, knows Tesman's there, and Tesman, good technique. Good passing technique, good striking technique. Forces a save there from Silla. He's comfortable in the end, but again, the passage of play is a promising one for the US. Just love this pressing. That's Dietz, the number 6, coming out of his slot. Continue to press forward.
See, there's 7 shots on goal from the US midway through the first half, but the intent really is there. Third game of what could yet become 6, if they can go all the way. Final takes place in Paris a week on Friday.
You talked about that intent. It must come from the manager, Marko Mitrovic, and I love it because that's what so many U.S. teams lack, is that instinct, that intent to say, no, we're going to get the ball and we're going to play forward and we're going to make you defend us.
Ariel clears away there in that right back spot for the US.
Perfect positioning from Ariel, the right back. Inside on the shoulder of Walker Zimmerman, clearing up any danger.
Aliou Balde, straight through to Schulte. Should mention the temperature in Saint-Etienne, as we've seen across the country, especially up in Paris. It's a very hot day in France. The temperature in the mid-80s. We are expecting that there'll be cooling breaks in both halves. Coming up to 7:30 p.m. local time.
Didn't mind that giveaway from Balde just now. I mean, his player zigged. He thought he was going to zag, but the idea was to play in and through, and the ball was right. The run just didn't match it from the beginning midfielder. But good intention from Balde. The width and the wide areas can be exploited. Get these U.S. players one-on-one. Try and force them back. It's been a good little spell here for Guinea. But when they do this and they get caught in these moments, that's the trap the U.S. is setting. Front 4 with a press, 1 midfielder in behind, and when it breaks the lines, they're there to pounce. Guinea need to be a little bit more clever, because even though that ball looks like it's on, you can see, Joe, they're inviting that ball. They want that ball to be played in there so they can pounce and attack defensively.
The inside there of Tim Howard, alongside me, Joe Spates. Tim, who was in the last US squad to reach the quarter-final stage of the Olympic Games in 2000. They won the last group match against Kuwait after 2 draws in the first 2 games, going through with 5 points.
And it was a pretty incredible experience, Joe. You just, every single game, you're like a little kid in a candy shop. You're thinking, what if we win this? We're on to the next one, and who might we play, and where might we go? And it was such a special time traveling around Australia as it was in 2000, and going to all the different venues, and getting to go to the Olympic Village finally when we made it to the medal rounds in Sydney. And that's what bolsters these players. That's what gives them the motivation, is the next game and the idea that we could possibly be in the next round.
That Kuwait victory was at the MCG in Melbourne, a vast stadium. With the injury sustained here for the Guinean defender, Bangali Cisse. This would suggest his game is going to end prematurely. One of only 3 players in their squad who play in Guinea. And another injury blow for their coach, Kaba Diawara, to contend with.
It's never a good sign when you see a player with the agony on his face and hobbling off. It's not good for this team, particularly when this starting 11 has been together so often. See the Olympic dream that they all hope for suffering.
Having lost their first 2 games, Guinea had to win this game, scoring at least 2 goals to have any chance of going through. And as we lie right now, the USA will go through in second place in Group A. They will go through behind France, who still lead New Zealand by 1-0.
Gotta say that last play there, Harry, I love what he does defensively. So many fullbacks fly forward. He does really well in the forward areas, but his ability to defend his spot, get inside the shoulder of his center back, protect him, defend one-on-one. He has so many good aspects to his game defensively. Really love to see that for this young U.S. team.
Tessman, Paredes, 2 players. Paredes and Tessman had to be a bit careful, both carrying yellow cards into this match, and a booking for them today would mean they would miss the quarter-final game if the USA do get there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be so worried about Paredes getting a booking as much as I would Tessman, because Paredes just plays higher up and hopefully doesn't have as many physical confrontations as maybe Tessman might have. So he needs to be careful.
So there is the change then made by Guinea. Cisse being forced off due to injury, replaced by Nabi Ulare in number 2. Off the bench for the 3rd successive game for Guinea. West African nation. Never won an Olympic medal in any sport. It will appear one won't come this year in the football tournament for them. Here's Aronson. Behind the pitch near post. Good defending. Just got there in the nick of time in front of Georgi Mihailovic.
And I was going to say, the U.S. need this. Just take the sting out of the game. Regain control. And sometimes you do that in football by just passing it. Not aimlessly, but make the other team chase a little bit. You see this. Play back to your goalkeeper. Make him come out, open up lines. And then it just allows you to take back some domination of possession. And again, there's a ball for sharing. Can you win it back? And a nothing ball down the channel. They have to put it out for a throw-in. You move your team up, take the sting out of it, and it just allows you, once again, get 1 or 2 minutes of having the football, enjoying it, and starting to create that tempo.
Paredes. Tessman. Paredes. Chance for Yao! So near being 2-0. Yao peeled away there, found the space. Couldn't quite turn it home.
No, and I don't think he gets it cleanly. I like this. Paredes, no wasted motion, just gets his head up. He does catch it clean in the end. Real good contact, just not a ton of power. In between Silla and the post, he gets it done, keeps it out, and keeps the U.S. at bay. But again, it was a good spell. Talked about these little moments of transition. Guinea have a little bit of the ball, and then the U.S. try and claw that back. Done well over the last few minutes, and again, you see that front 4, well, midfield 2 behind them, and then a back 4. This is a really good picture at the moment. Hoping Guinea will play through them, and that will start their press. That's the trigger they're looking for when they play between lines. But this is the moment they need to handle as well. Big, long balls, the physicality of Guinea. They have to be more dominant in the air than the U.S.
Yao there, who hit the post. But the USA coming forward now. Paredes! Yes! What a beautifully worked goal to make it 2-0. Dancing with delight, Kevin Paredes, and so are the USA. Heading for the Olympic knockouts. for the first time in 24 years, the way things done right now.
So many elements to this, but this was a... Would the way to the pass be perfect? The run was perfect, and if he did, the finish would be there for him. But Aronson, I have to say, great weight on that ball. Perfectly weighted ball. Paredes got up to full steam, head up, head down, cool finish. Really well done here. I mean, you can see Paredes take off, and I'm thinking, if the ball's right, this is a goal their way. Double their lead, 2-0. Let the dancing begin.
He's got the moves and might well savour the moment. A 2-goal advantage for the USA after half an hour. And now we have our first half cooling break because of the warm temperatures in St Etienne right now. The USA are red hot. They really have picked up from where they left off in the last match against New Zealand. And right now, that's the way Group A stands. France are going through as group winners. The USA will go through with them in second place. That would mean the USA would face Morocco. The way things lie right now, they will play that match in the quarter-final in Paris on Friday at 9 AM Eastern Time. Let's listen here. Kawa Diawara, the coach of Guinea. And now they really are up against it. Their fans disheartened and came here with real hopes to advance in what is their first Olympic appearance for 56 years in the men's event. But Tim, they've met a US team who are in rampant form at the moment.
Yeah, and in football, as I mentioned, when you lose heavily, you don't think you can even come back the next game and play football, and then you win the way they did, and you think we're world beaters, and that's where they are right now. They're in that slipstream of that momentum, and they understand that the goals go in. We talked about it against New Zealand. The more the goals go in, the more opportunities you get, the livelier you feel, the more touches you take. Passing is easy, shooting is easy, running, most importantly, is easy when you have the lead, and that's what we're seeing from this U.S. team. They're also really well set up in these bank of four. In the front, you see there, 2 midfielders and then a back four. Really like this aggressive tactical setup from the U.S.
Scored 6 goals now. In just shy of a game and a half. They hit the woodwork now, 4 times 2 across the tournament. The US were to win the game, it would be their best ever performance in the Olympic group stage, to win 2 matches from 3. They bounced back so well from that first match when they lost against the host France in Marseille, in which they were far from outplayed. They've shown real character and they've shown great quality.
Yeah, they really have. And
see if Guinea can try and get one back before half-time here with that attempt from a long way out. There was never dipping in time from Hamidou Balde, never testing Patrick Schulte.
no, it's good intent. He comes inside here. Balde, been one of the most dangerous players, doesn't catch it properly. You can see what he's trying to do. He wants to hit through the ball and make it dance, and when you do that, sometimes it's not the most accurate strike. If it goes on goal, it causes chaos for the goalkeeper, but when it doesn't, it sails harmlessly wide, and we saw that. But I mentioned about Guinea not playing through the middle. They can play through the middle. It just has to be quick enough. 1 and 2 touch passes, checking their shoulder, always being on the half turn. And they haven't done that so far. So if they are going to play through the middle and find some joy, they have to speed the play up. Otherwise, change it quickly side to side. The U.S. is causing them a problem that they can't really solve. You see how often the defenders are on the ball and just giving hopeless passes away. It's because the U.S. is really painting a picture for them that they don't like.
It's a foul given against Maxi Dietz, and a yellow card too. He felt somewhat harshly done by it with that yellow card. His first foul of the game, but Dietz was the first US player cautioned today.
Yeah, that's that gray area. It's a high boot, right? And You see there, Barr sticks his head in, but ultimately boots too high. And when you catch a player like that in the face, in the head area, it's a booking. So he's got to be careful now in that number 6 role, that he doesn't get himself in any other physical confrontations that might ask the question of the referee.
But he was the man who came in place of the injured Gianluca Busio in the US midfield today. Plays for Greuther Fürth in German football. Spent the past 3 years there in the second tier in Germany, in Bavaria. Free kick for Guinea, played in by Kamara. No damage done for that first ball, but Guinea will try again with Balde. Up against Paredes, who scored the US second goal. And a key goal too. In terms of the permutations, a 2-goal US win or more would guarantee they go through regardless of what happens in the other match in Marseille.
And Kamara there just tried to be too perfect with the ball in. Doesn't need to be. Just floated in. He's got players in the box.
Harry was just caught out there, but he was very grateful that there was some very watchful defending behind him from Walker Zimmerman.
The US just couldn't get the ball clear. Good front foot defending from Guinea and Balde, but they have to put the US under pressure. The balls in don't have to be perfect. They just have to be put in a really good area. Allow your players to go attack it. This ball just needs to get floated up, miss the first defender, and at least give your team an opportunity to put the US on the back foot. Defending set pieces is so difficult. The advantage is with the attacker. They need to make sure that the ball is right.
Five in red shirts to attack this ball in, which missed the near post area. Now the Ghanaian players and the fans behind that goal too suggest there may be a handball in there. Yellow card's been shown to Usman Kamara, I think for dissent. But VAR will just check this. The referee delaying the restart of play.
That yellow card was too quick. The referee pointed to her ear, knows that she's given a corner, but it could be a VAR decision. Every now and again, a player is going to have something to say and put their hand up. There's nothing really in it that deserved the yellow card, but okay, the referee was quick with it, and VAR having a look. That angle was difficult to see. It certainly begged the question.
Well, the check is over. Another corner for Guinea. That swinging ball in. Attacked by Suma.
And that's what you want. I mean, you just see that Suma can climb the ladder. Give him an opportunity. It's a real good chance. It's actually slightly behind him, but you can see how high he got up there. And that's Yao there at the back post. Again, with a really good chance. And Paredes just doesn't refuse putting balls in the box. Does it really, really well. And there's the goal line technology. You can see stays out.
Great service there by Kevin Paredes. The moments after that, scored the second goal. And this winger from Virginia, same state as the women's right back, Emily Fox. Noah Lyles too from Virginia. Sprinter. The swimmers too, Tori Husk and Gretchen Walsh, who won gold and silver on Sunday. US men hoping to add their name to the list of medal winners at the Olympics this year, something they've not done in the modern era.
And Joe, we talk about game management, understanding moments. Five minutes or so till halftime. You don't allow Guinea to get a goal. If they get a goal, all of a sudden they're back in the game. The crowd's back in. And right now, their crowd's a bit subdued, right? They're down 2-0. They started out really well, really colorful and lively. That's subsided. The U.S. can keep them at bay by understanding these 5 minutes are crucial. Not to change anything, but they need to be switched on and recognize need to go into halftime with a clean sheet intact.
I think he works here by Guinea. This is Mariba. And Kamara. Back for Ulare. Medu Keita. Amadou Diawara scored their only goal so far in their match against New Zealand in their opening game. This is Mariba. Patrick Schulte was right behind it, comfortable save.
And that's what you want. Your defenders getting down the line of the ball. You'll take shots from that angle in those positions because it's going to be comfortable for your goalkeeper. Get a few of your players closing the ball down or forgetting they need more office running. When they have the U.S. pinned back and they're using the wide areas, sometimes you have to get a runner over there, run yourself offside, get in a position that takes the U.S. defenders with you just to free up some space.
Now the U.S. will counter, and here goes the pace of Paredes again. Up against Diallo. He's got past it. Paredes for Yao. Hit the post again. Twice in the first half, Griffin Yao has come so close with the USA.
Now these kids are having fun. Paredes, again, never refuses the ball. Always tries to shift it. Doesn't refuse across. Gets it into the danger area. And Yao, you don't have to ask him twice. He's going to find the ball. He gets attracted to the ball and he does it really well. Makes good contact with it. It's such a difficult technique. Puts the goalkeeper there. You can see stretching. Probably wasn't going to get near it. Just hits the other side of the post and goes out.
And you have to say, Tim, given the way the forward line's operating so far in the game, it vindicates the change made by Marko Mitrovic to leave out Duncan Maguire and bring in Yao from the start.
Yeah, you and I saw this happening last game.
Here's Ulare for Guinea, looking to move beyond Yao, who's back there now at the left-back spot defending.
Yeah,
He's everywhere.
He is. We saw this at the end of last game. We thought this front three is electric.
Kamara, searching ball. Decisive again from Schulte.
He's been decisive as Schulte, claiming you can hear it, you can hear his voice, you can understand and see that his defenders hear him because there's a really good communication. The body language is there. Not a lot of conflict when it comes to coming together with your defender and your goalkeeper. Everything seems to be clear and concise at the moment. But yeah, that front three, we just knew there was something magical in it. The energy, the ability to take the ball and to be direct. That's what the U.S. was missing. And they were able to do it in numbers when they play in a front three. Duncan Maguire, he did so much hard work for the team, so much running. And that's not easy to do. You have to chase up there by yourself. And sometimes when you change the formation, it just kind of gives everybody a little bit more support in those areas.
Kaba Diawara is also the head coach of the Guinea senior men's team. He was born in France, on the south coast, in between Marseille and Saint-Tropez. Abdoulaye Touré, Guinea's three overage players, and they're missing their key one, Naby Keita, former Liverpool player, an injury hit time there, and he was twice a former Ghanaian Footballer of the Year. Haven't seen Bar in the game at all so far. The Guinea centre forward being marshalled very well by the US defence, and Marko Mitrovic must be delighted with the way he's performing again. Back-to-back games now where they've been far superior to their opponents.
This is what the U.S. don't want. They don't want this Guinea crowd back into the game. They were electric early on. Done a really good job quieting that crowd through possession, through really good opportunities, and of course the goals. I think right now the U.S. can probably afford to not high press, save a little bit of energy. They'll get the halftime break, and if they come out in the second half again, trying to find that third goal. Do they need it? No. But if they chase the third goal and they do it cautiously and in a pragmatic way and find it, then that allows them to not open up spaces at the back, but also continue pushing. Goals are so important.
Into first half stoppage time we go. We're going to have 6 minutes additional time. Also in first half stoppage time in Marseille, where France, the hosts, still lead New Zealand 1-0 through Jean-Philippe Mateta's goal. So right now, it is the USA who are going through in second place in Group A. France would be the group winners. They would leads in quarter-finals between the US and Morocco, and a very tasty affair between France and Argentina.
And the other thing about Yao, you don't want him too deep. You want him to do his dirty work up the front of the pitch, not to have to track back in these positions. That's why it's so important that the U.S. is able to move their lines and get up.
It's a foul given against Naby Ulare.
And as I say that, if you ask him to defend and do the dirty work, he'll certainly do it and not disappoint you. Just, he and Aaronson remind me so much of each other in terms of physically, always dangling the leg and getting in a tackle and not being afraid to put it in where it hurts and where it counts, and it continues to pay dividends for this U.S. team. And you have to marvel at this front three and what Mitrovic has found here. I mean, it's really special. Even Mihajlovic just gone quiet, gone off the boil a little bit. Not able to find balls to his feet. Some of that's due to the players behind him, but he needs to find better spaces, not allow the center back to pick him up. Just drop a little bit deeper and come off the front and be able to find that ball.
It was a worrying omen before the game, a fact that the US have never beaten an African opponent in the Olympic Games in 4 previous attempts. Too sure these US players are concerned by what has gone before. Their intent to make some history their own this summer. And they're going the right way about it. Ulare with the cross here. Good defending, commanding from Zimmerman. Why he was picked to be that leader in the back four.
Yeah, commanding is the word. You can hear the shout from the goalkeeper, Schultze, and a really big, solid cross from Zimmerman.
The overage players having a big influence for the US, the 2 centre-backs, and Mihajlovic with his 2 goals. The penalty in the last match and that wonderful free kick to put the US on their way in this game. Under 23 players in the main, with those 3 overage players allowed as Touré lets fly. Like the last time the US reached the quarter-final of the Olympic Games, none of the 23 players, 23-year-olds or under were born. It was that long ago.
I'll tell you what, that's a good take from Schultze. It looks really clean and easy, I guess, because he made it look that way. That ball dips right in front of him with pace. We've seen that ball pop away from goalkeepers at times, does really well.
Robinson. He's a man who's eager to make up the lost time, having missed the World Cup a couple of years ago in Qatar due to injury. A chance for him to represent the USA on a big stage. Here's Mihajlovic now. Ulare with a header.
It really is fascinating to just watch these youngsters play on this stage. One, it's an opportunity to play in a major tournament and just feel like this has been your dream come true. But it's also, we've seen time after time, Joe, players get big moves off the back of Olympic performances, and no disrespect to the clubs that they're at. All eyes are on these players now across the globe, and 1 or 2 really good games or a good tournament could see you set yourself up in your career and have a big move. And it's exciting to watch these players live that out in real time.
It's half-time in the other game in the group. Remember, simultaneous matches to round off the group games at the Olympic Games, and France lead New Zealand 1-0. So Thierry Henry's team, who were amongst the favourites to win the gold medal, set for 3 straight wins, they would win the group. New Zealand would be going out along with Guinea. US going through in second place. There's Harry. That's a bit short there for Tessman. And a shot from a long way out was too high from Diawara, but that was a bit sloppy for the US.
It's in these moments, Joe, you want to see your goalkeeper in your back four, when that ball sails over the top here as it does, having a real stern word with the players in front of them. That can't happen. Can't have giveaways, can't have opportunities like that at the end of the half, because that's what helps bring teams back into the game.
Half-time almost upon us. And so ends a perfect first half for the USA.